Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel Armag for All and welcome to my first impression of the Medium on the Xbox Series X and PC. And yeah, I would say, let's start. The first thing what I noticed when I started playing the game on the Xbox was very heavy gamma flickering in combination with the variable refresh rate and especially in the 120 Hz mode in combination with HDR. Have a look on the freezing information. Every time I'm dropping from 5.5 down to 3, it is flickering, and this is very obvious. Not right now with all the lights on, but if you play this game with variable refresh rate on in a very dark room, it is very, very annoying. The only way to get rid of the gamma flickering with variable refresh rate is to turn it actually on in the Xbox console. So allow variable refresh rate, just turn it off and go back to the game. And now we have fixed and there is no flickering whatsoever. And no worries, you don't need VRR for this game. The PC version has also a flickering issue when VRR or freezing is activated, but not that obvious as the Xbox version. Have a look on the freezing information. This is a very stable number and just from time to time it will drop or raise up and then the flickering is happening. So at this very moment I barely can't see any flickering. Of course, when I turn off the light, it is more obvious, but at this very moment, the PC version performs much better when we just look at the VRR flickering issue. The PC version offers you a better graphic compared to the Xbox version, especially when you're using the high or ultra settings. And I can show you this, what I'm doing at the moment, or what I'm using. So ray tracing is ultra and quality is set to high. And with my system at the moment, I have 43 frames per second. So my system is a AMD 5950 16-core CPU and the GPU is a Nvidia 3070. So, and you can see this is not actually a cheap system. Okay, we need to consider that. Have a look on the CPU performance at the moment, just 5%. So the CPU at this game doesn't make any difference. You can have a very cheap one and a very high-end one. So graphic card is this what counts. And in my opinion, a 3070 is not the high-end graphic card, but there's not much what comes next. I mean, 3080, 3090 or AMD's 6800, 6900 series. We're talking about much higher prices. And the 3070 was already much more expensive than the Xbox Series X. So compared to all of this, the Xbox version makes actually a really good impression to me. The Xbox Series X version has 4K and 30 FPS. And compared to the PC, you can see a difference. The detail is looking like a mix between low and medium. And when we're talking about draw-in distance or pop-in from objects, the Xbox version is worse compared to the PC. On the PC also you have some pop-ins from the plants and trees and stuff like that. But on the Xbox version it is more obvious, in my opinion, than on the PC version. But again, we're talking about a 750 Australian dollar console versus a high-end PC. And yeah, in my opinion, it is still impressive because it looks really, really good. Okay, so let's talk about HDR. And on both systems, you just have this slider, the gamma adjustment slider in the PC version and the Xbox version. So on the PC, there's another button or switch where you can turn off and on HDR. On the Xbox version, there is not. There is nothing at all. This is all what you got, and this is the same slider what you have in SDR. So I'm just wondering if this is really a proper HDR implementation or it is just a fake HDR, because also it doesn't matter what you set in the HDR calibration menu from the Xbox, there is no difference at all. It doesn't matter what you set here, if it's wrong or right, it has no impact at all in the game. Okay, let's have a little bit of a closer look on the HDR implementation from this game. So at this very moment, HGiG is activated. The settings on the game is default settings. And when I'm switching now between dynamic tone mapping and HGiG, there is at this very moment no difference at all, not a single change. Of course, when I'm doing off, then you can see a difference here. But at this very moment, I can't see any difference between dynamic tone mapping on and HGiG. There is not even a single change, really. The only difference, of course, if you're not having a very bright picture, the thing what is going on with dynamic tone mapping, as always, it will brighten up the picture. In this case, I don't think that HGiG is too dark, not at all, because it looks really, really good. And in my opinion, now dynamic tone mapping is a little bit too bright, but this, of course, is always up to you, what you prefer. And the same here, I clearly can see all the details in HGiG. Dynamic tone mapping, of course, makes it a little bit brighter, but I would say so far that HGiG is doing a good job in this game. Okay, let's talk about performance. And Xbox version is capped at 30 FPS. The PC version is unlimited. Unless you activate VSync, then it's capped to 60 FPS. And on both systems, on the PC and the Xbox, we have a frame time issue or frame drop issues, because from time to time we have micro stuttering, which, don't get me wrong, it is not a game where you need a perfect frame times or perfect frame rates, but still it is obvious, and it's from time to time it's very annoying. In my opinion, I don't like it at all, because when we already talking about 30 FPS, which is the for me 30 FPS is actually a no-go, but in games like this, okay, you know what I mean? It's okay, because it's not a very fast game. It is okay. 30 FPS, absolutely the minimum, but at least then I like to have perfect FPS and not stuttering from time to time, which I can clearly see. And now when I'm going around this corner, just have a look on the tree here, how this is stuttering. This is just crazy, and it happened on the PC and on the Xbox version. It doesn't matter what resolution I'm using or what settings I'm using, it is always the same stuttering. So the performance on the PC, of course, is a little bit better, even with just 46 frames per second in the highest details. But thanks to VRR, it is very smooth, apart from this micro stuttering, because you have exactly the same issue as on the Xbox. So better graphic, yes, but again, I hope you can see it from time to time. It is not a frame rate issue, because the frame rate is more or less stable. It is really maybe a frame time issue, something like that. I'm not quite sure. But again, it is not that important, of course, in games like that. But it is annoying as well, of course. So let's have a look on the tree again. The PC version is doing exactly the same what the Xbox version is doing. Okay, so let's talk about the performance on the PC a little bit more. So with the same settings, graphical settings as before, in this scene at the moment with the split screen gaming, I have 25 frames per second, which of course for me it's going to be unplayable. I don't like to play like this. So what I found also is that the graphic settings menu sometimes, not all the time, has a little bit buggy, because it can happen that you change something, or it's happened on my computer or PC, that nothing is happening, or in the worst case, the game crashed to the desktop. So let's see what's happened now if I'm going to off and low, and we're just going back. This time it worked. So now with the lowest settings and ray tracing off, I have this at the moment. This looks awful, actually, absolutely awful. Just let me have a look on advanced. This is still at 100. So what I don't understand, and this is also something really maybe you can answer in the comments, base quality is on low, but still the rest is still on high. I don't get it. So what is the difference anyway between here, quality low, high and custom, of course, and then here base quality low, medium and high, and then all these other sliders? What is the difference? So I would assume actually when I change something here in the main menu, then in the advanced menu, let's say I'm changing this to high, then everything is on high here. If I go to change this on low, everything should be on low here as well, but there's no change at all. So if I'm going to put this on high, this is on custom now, not on high. I don't get it. So for me, the settings, the graphic settings are not, a little bit buggy in my opinion. But let's try it again. Let's go back to low, and let's go back to low here again. Can I get my 90 frames back? No, I can't. See, this is, I don't get it. You know what I mean? I haven't changed anything else. in my opinion. So this is, why is this on custom again? Okay, let's try it again. Low, off, ray tracing is off. This was also on low. Okay, let's go back. Now I have my 90 frames per second back. But can you see this graphic? This now is PlayStation 1 graphic. I'm not kidding. Okay, so let's try to find actually a setting which we can use. What is medium? Medium is already much better. But still, we're just talking about 39 frames per second, and I paid for this graphic card around 1,000 Australian dollars, okay? So just keep in mind, the Xbox Series is 715 Australian dollars. The performance from the Xbox Series or also the Xbox Series S is really good for the money. The same counts for the PlayStation 5 in my opinion. Or we can say that the prices for the GPUs are just way over the moon at the moment, which also is absolutely right. So, but again, see, it drops to 35 frames per second. And we have stuttering like hell. But anyway, so again, PC version offers you a better graphic, but it comes with a very, very high price. The Medium is a very interesting game, and I really like the idea of the two worlds. I'm personally a big fan of games like that. I like the graphic style, I like how the character is moving, interacting with the environment. A really good game in my opinion. When it comes to the question where you should play the game, then I would prefer the Xbox version because of the performance difference on my PC. And right now we're talking about 52 frames per second on the PC, which is absolutely fine for a game like that because you don't need 120 FPS. Don't get me wrong, more FPS is always better, but for games like this, it is okay. I'm a little bit disappointed about the overall performance at all, to be very honest, because I can't see why this takes so much graphic power. We're still talking about a 3070 graphic card from Nvidia. This is not a low-end graphic card, and not at all. Very expensive graphic card compared to the Xbox version, so I don't understand what is actually really going on, why this takes so much graphic power. But anyway, it looks fantastic on the PC. It looks a little bit low resolution or different settings on the Xbox. Of course, I would say it's a mix between low and medium settings, but that's just okay. It is very nice playable on the Xbox version. We have the frame time issues on the Xbox version and the PC version. That's just a thing what we need to consider. And also, if you're using an LGCX with variable refresh rate, then you should disable VRR in the menu from the Xbox. Otherwise, you're ending up with a lot of flickering issue, with the gamma flickering issue, which is very, very annoying in this game, okay? So I think that's enough for this video, and just put in the comment what you think. Leave me a like, and if you're new to my channel, just subscribe, okay? Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Bye.